Um, Okie dokie. Yeah, I think we get started here. Um, give some quick rundown overviews for our few guests showing up so far. Um, so yeah, this semester we've done 4 different projects in the course. We started off with Photoshop and Illustrator drawing assignments, and then moved into audio and coding. And so this project, even though it's focusing on coding, it's really a combination of all of the different projects that we've used, all the different methods we've learned over the semester. So students can use their coding in collaboration with images and with audio. And the overall goal here for these projects that are being presented today are more or less to deliver unique interactive user experiences. So every project is its own design. There's no real requirements for these projects other than the fact that the interactions should be meaningful and therefore be integrating sound, deliver some sorts of replayability with these projects, right? Like kind of holding themselves up on their own. And one really amazing feature about this semester particularly is that I've updated the class format for the coding from a very specific coding application that you have to download and install. And if you want to share it, those people have to download and install this program. So this semester, we've converted to a web-based platform, and all of the code is now accessible right online. So, let me close a couple things so I can run smoothly here. So the programming language we've dove into is P5.js. Anyway, the main point of this is that projects are shared right through the browser. The capabilities are just to share a URL now to anyone, and they have immediate access to your actual interactive project as well as the code to that project. So let me pull up our site here. And obviously, if you've scrolled down, you'll see these projects that we're going to be covering today. And all of these projects, I've added, hopefully, the correct links to each of the students' works. So for all the guests that are here, not only can you tune in, watch the presentation, check out how the project was made and ask any questions, but you also can just head right over to the actual project on a different tab of your browser. And assuming you don't get this little loading in the top left corner, you should be good to go to just start experiencing the project. So from what I could tell, none of them seem broken. There are some technical things that could go wrong. So, if you are trying to tune in and you have a problem, you could just either shout out or shoot a message to the chat here. And, the students or myself can help you through that. So, but yeah, so other than that, I do want to also mention that students today, they're here for extra credits. Probably the big key of gathering all of us together. But on top of that, I also did make awards for the students. So one really nice thing, heading on from undergrad, either for grad school or the real world, is to have added supplemental stuff for your resume, your CV. So these titles should hold up pretty nicely on there. And from that point on, I also reached out to Paula's Donuts and got a sponsor with them. So the students could also get a free dozen donuts. So that's what's up on the line, I suppose, in general. But later, after the presentations, everybody is going to be able to vote for your favorite project. And I do have a link that I'll provide you guys at the time. So yeah, we'll probably just open it up here. Does anybody have questions, students or guests, before we get started? I figure I probably covered most all of it and more. Cool. Yeah, I'm just going to hang out. The students know that they're going to be pretty much taking over like host responsibilities, so to speak. So I'm just going to lay back. I guess I will note that you guys probably already heard, we are recording just in terms of like being able to show this for anybody who wasn't able to come to the event. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to hand it over to them. They can start going here. And first off, we're going to have Julian, and then the first few know who they are beyond that. So.
Hi, my name is Julian, and for this project, I wanted to create a more interactive version of music visualization, because most music visualization I see lacks the user interaction that they can have with the music. So for this project, I not only focus on the visualization aspect of the music, but I also incorporate the user's interaction to change the visuals based on the person's feeling and emotion. And I could play you an essence of what the project is to show you what can be done. And then, as you can see, that there's a mic input, so whenever you're talking, it will also have the ability to form these circles, which matches the sound of the mic. And then you can move the mouse around to change the shape of the visuals. And then as you can see or probably notice, the beat of the sound matches with the way the shapes are moving. And yeah, that's a small snippet of it. And I'll explain the coding itself right now. So the coding itself starts off with a starting screen in which you have to press a mouse button, technically the left mouse button, in order for it to continue. And this is all can be seen right here, where this is the first text in which it says enjoy, and then the press to start button fades in. And then the reason why I did this is because I think it will be too erratic to just jump into the music itself. So I created a pause in order for the person to, I guess, experience it themselves. And then the main thing that, let me mute the tab first. And then the main thing for the project is, I guess, the circles and how they match the beat with the shapes. And this can be seen from this code right here, where I used a variable of a frequency and matched it to the shape itself. And then whenever you press on the background, it turns black to give another certain experience that the user can interact with. And then the code over here is basically showing and telling you the weights and I guess the color of the shape. And then one of the things that I was trying to do was to create a series of random songs and then have it loop. So it could be deemed as a repeatable code, but I think that I came into trouble with that. And then, so I just made a function where it plays 2 songs and then it just stops there. And that is it. And it is open up for questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
So with all these crazy visual things that are tied to all these different variables, uh, did you have any humongous problems that like took you hours to solve or something? Is this exactly what you envisioned it would be like from the very beginning, or did you have to make some compromises on the visuals?
Well, in the beginning, I guess the visuals were kind of simplistic, where it would just be squares just rotating around the screen, just lines. But I stumbled across one of the references for P5.js. They had like already existed code where it would have the shapes, but I made the shapes like overlap themselves. So basically the shapes that you see in the middle are like hexagons, and the purple shape is basically a triangle, but it's overlapped and not filled in.
Kind of working off of that question, I've never made anything like remotely like this. So where did you like start? What was your first like step, or did you just kind of mess around until you found something you liked the look of?
Right. I think I wanted to, I guess, stem off from the previous project 3, which was using Audacity, and then I thought of, the thing, I guess creating a music visualization would be good. And most music visualization has like the horizontal beat instead. So I was thinking, why not change that up and make it into a more hypnotic and circular version, and it all went from there.
I do want to just point out real quick to any guests who might be unfamiliar. There there usually is some level of latency with Zoom. So this is one particular project where it could look blurry depending on your connection, because there's a lot of fine detail. So you'd see it in its full clarity, I suppose, if you have it loaded on your own computer. But yeah, also, if any guests, have any questions along the way, totally welcome as well.
What made you choose the colors you chose?
So I used so I used Adobe Illustrator's I guess that palette where it recommends the colors. So I started off with that turquoise background, and then I found I guess instead of using RGB, I used the hex colors instead, and then I translated to RGB, and then from RGB put it into Adobe Illustrator to find out what colors, I guess, pairs well, or contrasts with the turquoise color.
I want to ask one question. So like, with all you've done here, like, will you ever like do some, like continue more work with stuff like this in the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was thinking uh of like, I guess, inputting random songs and then have it either loop or have it pair with, I guess, a radio or whatever sound you hear. If that's all the questions, I thank everyone uh for viewing my project, and I'm gonna hand it off to Liv right now, or Liz. Thank you.
Alrighty. Let's see. I think, are you still sharing your screen? Oh, okay. Alrighty. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yeah? Awesome. Okay. Well, hello, my name is Liv, and let's go to the full screen version. This is my project. It's called Fate Maker. And basically the idea behind this was to create just like a fun game that kind of marries like a BuzzFeed quiz and like those paper fortune tellers that like everyone made in middle school. It's kind of a mix of those two ideas. And it's a quiz that you can take and you pick between a bunch of different options. And then at the end, it gives you a fortune and it tells your fortune. So it's basically a parody on a BuzzFeed quiz, except a lot of those quizzes, I noticed that, you know, if you are picking between two options of something, it'll like have two movies and you're supposed to pick one. But if you haven't seen that movie, you kind of have to blindly pick. So in this project, you can actually listen to the audio and get a taste of what the option is before you pick. So why don't we just get into it here? This is the landing screen. Click here to start. And so to play the audio, I think this is muted. Okay. So here we go. We got the instructions up here. You hover on this and it plays a song and it spins the little cube. So you can listen to both songs, decide which one you like better, and then click on the one that you like. So now the next level is stand-up comedians. You hover here.
It is so much easier.
Listen to a snippet of their, you know, stand-up set and
Not to do
which one you think is funnier. Do it again with a song. And then here's your fortune. And here you can read your fortune, obviously. And if you're happy with your fortune, you know, you can go and claim your prize. But if you're not happy, you can go back to the beginning and try again. But the prize is, it's not like really a prize. It's basically just a link to the playlist of all the songs and like the full length stand-up comedy routines. So you can listen to the full thing. It's taking a while to load, but I promise that exists. So yeah, basically that's the basic structure. Let's get into the code. So my code is very like repetitive kind of because the scenes all have like the same basic structure. So here's the preload. These functions are basically covering the text that's on the top and the bottom of all of the audio pages and some of the fortune pages. But if we get into draw, let's go down here. This is like the basic structure of the audio pages. So it says scene 11, it has 2 if statements that controls the boxes and the audio and the text, and then the scene ends. And that's basically how all of these audio pages look. And then if we scroll down to one of the fortune pages, they look like this, which again, it calls what scene it is. It stops the song from the previous page. It calls the text, and then there's 2 if statements that basically it decides what fortune you get based on what time it is that you're taking it. So if it's before 5 p.m., you get this fortune. If it's after 5 p.m., you get this fortune. And there's like 16 total fortunes that you could possibly get, and there's 2 fortunes assigned to each page. So that's that. And then mouse pressed, basically, again, a lot of copy and pasting. It just has the scene and mouse X, mouse Y, and a scene counter, which allows you to click in the same spot. That was, I guess we could get into like how my project evolved. So at the very beginning, I ran into a hurdle that was like when you were clicking in the same spot, it was taking you to the last page instead of kind of hitting all the pages in between. And so thank you to Bernard, because he gave me this tip that if you use a scene counter and you reset all of the scenes to 0, it allows you to like go through all of the scenes properly. So that was a major hurdle that I hit like right at the beginning, but we resolved that. And then in the beginning, like I think like a lot of people, it was a lot smaller. So because I was a little nervous about how biting off more than I could chew. So over time, I added like more pages and more fortunes and stuff like that so that it could be a little bit longer. Other hurdles that I faced was figuring out how to like personalize the fortunes, because I had a meeting with Bernard and he was like, there should be a way that the fortunes are further like personalized rather than just having it spit it out. So that's what I use the hour function for. And this took me a long time to like decide how I wanted to do it. So that was kind of a hurdle until I found the hour function. And this kind of ended up working perfectly. And then another problem I had was in full screen mode. For some reason, the first 2 songs weren't playing. So that's why I added this like landing page. So it kind of allowed the audio to load in properly. And then in the future, I just kind of want to add more fortunes and maybe add more scenes so that the game is longer. Yeah, but that's pretty much about this game. If anybody has any questions or comments, so shout them out.
What inspired you to I don't think inspired is the right word, about the fortunes? Did you take any cues from horoscopes? I know those are very generalized, and that makes it feel like it's special and personal.
Right. So yeah, that was kind of like the whole goal, was to kind of take in these arbitrary like choices and spit out like a pretty unrealistic fortune. It's kind of like a parody on like horoscopes and, you know, those types of BuzzFeed quizzes that are just, they're kind of outlandish, but they're fun. And hopefully, you know, you have a fun time doing it. But yeah, some of the fortunes actually do mention a sign, a star sign. So it is definitely based a little bit on horoscopes rather. Yeah.
I want to ask one question. So why is favorite comedians like a deciding factor in it?
Yeah, basically originally it was all songs. And I liked that, but I thought it might be fun to add in like some other type of media. And I was thinking like, what is something you could listen to that you don't need to like see exactly? And I was like, stand-up comedy, you know, maybe hopefully if you don't have fun playing the game, you have fun listening to some stand-up comedy, and at least you got that out of it. So yeah, I just thought it'd be like a fun little added layer to it.
I think
like, oh, sorry. I was going to say adding like other media might be something I do in the future too, but go ahead.
I think it's pretty funny that no matter what you choose, your fortune is just determined by what hour it is.
Yeah.
Parody idea of just being like, it's totally meaningless. It's 6 o'clock, so you're a Pisces now.
Oh yeah. Like I did actually, like a crazy person, I did kind of like determine like based on the path that you take, I did kind of write the fortune like kind of tailored to what path you took, but it is ultimately down to what time it is. And I think it's just, you know, a silly game. That's the point of it. Yeah.
Reminds me of a story about, what was it, Tom Scott. He used to work for this small little company, and it would try to tell you how northern or southern, I forget the country it was in particular, but there's like a little friendly rivalry going to like the north and the south
Right.
regions, and it would take your IP address and then like weight that towards the correct answer.
Oh my God.
Maybe with
That's
some
funny.
influence based on what you chose. So it was
Right.
almost always right, and it was a craze back then. So they tried to capitalize on that. So
Wow.
yeah, you're a little late, but you got it. You hit the nail
Yeah,
on the head.
you know, yeah, I got there in the end. Yeah, but that's cool. All right. Well, if that's everybody's questions, we could get on to the next person. Thank you for listening.
All right. That leaves me then. I'll see if I can share. That working? Cool.
Yep.
So mine has a little bit of inspiration. I'll play through the start of it for you guys in case you don't know the source material. But I basically set out to create or recreate this scene from Blade Runner where he punches a photo into this machine and then uses it to analyze and like break down the photo into a 3D scene that he moves around inside and finds some details in. And I like how it works, like how it's got this crunchy sort of VHS look, how it runs at like 5 frames per second, and it's very like retro futuristic. The whole aesthetic of Blade Runner kind of follows that, and that's something that I've always kind of liked and thought was cool. So I'll get into, I can't see it because it's, let's see, get into my project. Sorry, I thought I had the window open.
Bum, bum, bum.
What can I do?
I know it logs you out too after a while, which doesn't help.
Oh. That's not good. Oh, yeah. That's better. All right, so I decided to do this at my parents' house. I just took a bunch of pictures, which are all indexed here, set up a bunch of mirrors in the house, and then kind of moved between them as if I were zooming in. Because the fun part of that scene is it's not like, it doesn't behave like an image would behave. It's just movie magic. So it was kind of fun to look at that, break down the actual perspectives of how he was moving around the scene and like figure out how they faked it. So that was a fun little exercise. I'll just do the full screen. There we go. So you control the cursor with WASD, and then when you mouse over a spot that can be zoomed in on, hit space and it punches in. And then that's how you sort of move around the scene. So that's pretty much all that there is in terms of functionality. I spent a lot of time going after the sort of aesthetic that the film had, which is where I got the VHS font from. This sort of kind of just technobabble nonsense is, this is the frame counter, so that resets every time. It doesn't mean anything or change anything, but it just looks futuristic. That, and then this kind of VHS grunge over the top of it is actually being calculated by these numbers, which is a Perlin noise algorithm that I found within processing, or P5, that lets you, it's like a defined random number. So it's random within the context of the previous number, and then that allows you to sort of create VHS lines and any interesting things that are mostly random, but just not too random. And then also randomly, every now and then you'll see this grid flash over the screen that is just hooked up to a counter, and then if the random number is greater than 90, then it displays. I can sort of get into some of the functionality of it here, even though there's a lot and it's kind of crazy. It's sort of kind of like built over top of itself through 14 different iterations or versions, which is why I ended up with so many custom variables and so many different little things, because I built like one part of the functionality and that required its own set of variables and forms, and then another part of the functionality required different stuff. So I just continued on and eventually got down into that. This is the trail for the cursor. It's pretty much just continuously drawing these like 5 or 6 cursor trails over and over again. And when you move it, there is a little string of code that just updates those positions a little bit farther back when you move the cursor. Your navigator is just WASD. That's how it moves around, activated by the spacebar. This is the code that takes you through if it's detecting the mouse over the box. And then if the cursor is over the box, then it moves the edges or like the buffer points of the cursor so that it looks like it's interacting with it, which was just a little bit to make it look nicer, I guess, and more polished. And then this is where it gets into the scenes. And the only thing that's being defined in the scenes is basically which image is which image is displaying at what time, the punch-in animation showing the different images, and then the location of the box. Down past the scene is just a basic counter used to just define times for when which images are on the screen, or how often to show these sort of pseudo-random elements and different things like that. And then in the effects function is a random counter, and then some stuff for the grid and the Perlin noise. And that is...
Yeah, cool. I do, we're almost at 7 minutes. I just want to make sure we leave some time for some comments, for questions.
That's pretty much a wrap on it. So yeah, whatever you guys think of it or want to know, hit me.
I really like the concept of like recreating something you see in a movie. I think that's pretty cool. And then adding it to something from like your own life, like pictures from your own house. I just really like the concept. That's cool. Yeah.
Thanks.
If you were to expand upon this, like, how do you think you'd take it? Like, just adding like more scenes, or like what I guess your alternative goal would be for expansion on this?
I think the first thing I would probably do to expand on it would be adding multiple things to click on within each image. The way that I designed the code for this one kind of made it pretty linear. So if I were to expand in that direction to be like, oh, you can click and zoom in on this part, but you can also zoom in on this part, it would require kind of a pretty comprehensive rebuild. But I think that would be cool. And that is kind of like the end goal of where I would see it going if I were to bring it further. But yeah, pretty much like that. that's it. I'll get out of here and let you guys take it away, whoever's next.
All right, I am up next. Just get everything set up. All right, hi, I'm Eric. I made my project, it's called Amateur Artist. It kind of is like a walkthrough of just a painting simulator. It's something simple. You get some paints and you start painting. That's easiest as it can be. You're gonna have a greeting to an introductory screen, and you have the option, you have some money. So you can go to the store, buy some paints, buy like a different color, buy a different size brush, things like that. So it customizes your drawing experience. And once you're done in the store, you go to the canvas and you're able to paint. So I can draw like a little smiley face and just like some stuff like this. As you can see with me choosing red and then black, choosing multiple colors ends up mixing them together. So you're not just limited to the basic 5 colors that I have displayed here. With these, you can combine them up to 2 times, giving you a range of 15 different possible colors to choose from and draw with. As well, once you have all the brushes unlocked, you have 3 different sized brushes to play with. So you can change this around and kind of just customize it to your liking. Once you're done with your painting, obviously you'd hit done, and you have an option to either save this photo to your computer, which if you do, you can bring it up and it'll show your painting once this screen loads. It takes a screenshot and saves what you drew to your computer, which is pretty cool. You can see I've saved quite a few times since this is -24, so a lot of testing got into this. But after you save, or if you don't want to save, the way to progress back to the main page is to sell your painting. And the more paintings you sell, the more money you'll be able to get, the more art supplies you'll be able to buy, which just progresses this exploration and I guess replayability that was talked about in the beginning. Obviously, I didn't make a whole lot at the beginning, but the more you play, the more money you'll make. The longer you spend on a piece of art, you'll be able to gain more money and hopefully be able to buy out the entire store and make all the art you really want. Within this as well, there's a few little Easter eggs that I've hidden. There's like, if you get to a certain amount of money, you'll be able to buy a bike for yourself. If you get too far in debt, your mom will bail you out. And then one of my favorite things is on this homepage, it's all like secret Easter egg sort of stuff. This is one of the harder things that I had to do, but if you draw on the screen, you can actually get a rainbow effect to pop up, and you can draw in a rainbow. And every time you start this up, it's going to be a different rainbow because of randomness. There is audio along with this. I'll just preview it a little bit, but when you change scenes, the music will change a little bit. So here's some of the audio. Just a small preview. I wanted to go for a very like lo-fi kind of relaxed sort of vibe with this, and that's why I chose the music that I did. Looking into the code, a lot of it is repetitive, especially in this draw function or mouse press function, just because a lot of it is based around trying to get the certain colors and the certain attributes of changing colors, changing brush sizes, all that sort of stuff. I had to create a lot of different variables just because I had a lot of supplemental like stickers that I threw in there, a lot of different like moving pieces that all came in while different variables were applied and I guess unapplied. One of the harder things that I had to do in this with the drawing is making sure that everything came in when it needed to. I broke this up into 4 different scenes. That start screen, there's the plaza scene, the drawing, and then the store. And those are the only 4 you'll be able to change between those pretty easily and just with the click of your mouse. That leads into the mouse press function. Each of these has its own capabilities within the scenes itself. Within scene 2, you can change to go to the store or go to the painter's palace and be able to paint your stuff. And it's just a lot of interaction that is free to the user and giving this experience that there is no linear path. You can kind of do whatever you want. Hopefully you'll stay for a while, paint some cool photos, make some money, and possibly come back in the future to play again. So that's all I got. I'll now open up for questions.
Is the money based on anything in particular? Like, say, does it try to determine quality, like the way it does in the, I don't know if they do it correctly in the Sims 4 when you paint? You like toddler drawing says excellent masterpiece.
Yeah, so kind of going off of that, I did put a little bit of thought into how a price is calculated. I calculated it off of your painting experience, which is how many paintings you've done before. If you're just starting off, you're not going to have a lot of experience, so of course you're not going to make as much money. So it's your painting experience, how much paint you actually put on the canvas. So if you draw for a long time, you're going to be able to get a lot more money than if you just like draw a few scribbles and send that off. As well, how many colors you use. So the more times you change colors, the higher your price could get. And at the same time, the more times you change your brush size. That is all just things that are variables that will increase the price of your painting. One more thing that is a little bit more behind the scenes secret is the bidding that happens. When you start a bid, the game will start between like $1 and $4 or something like that. And throughout the game, to increase that range of a random number that's generated, I'll just finish this real quick and go back to the store. In the store, there's these magazines, which are definitely not like regular art supplies, but the more magazines you buy, the larger the range is of a random integer that will be chosen for the starting bid price.
I just have a question. Is for each painting, is there like an inherent cost to like doing it? Because I noticed that if I do like, I've been playing around in it, and if I get a painting that doesn't sell for very much, I lose money.
Right. So that's what I wanted to kind of introduce in this information screen. Every new piece will cost $10. This is kind of put in place so you're not just making money constantly, because it's a little hard to make money at first, and it, in my opinion, having a little bit of cost to starting a painting will prompt people to hopefully want to play a little bit more, try to make their stuff a little bit more experienced, and just put more effort and time into what they're doing so they have something good to sell.
So Eric, this is your mom. You said at one point your mom will bail you out.
Yes.
What designates that? What determines when I will send you more money?
So what I have in here, it's a random variable no, not a random variable. If you get too far in debt, you will get a bailout from your mom. Your mom will call and it'll be like, hey, honey, I saw you're in debt. Here's some money to help you out a little bit. That will be triggered at -$25. Once you get $25 in debt, you'll get a phone call from your mom being like, hey, here's some more money, good luck, sort of thing. And from there, there's some Easter eggs hidden around the screen. Yeah, if you run into some of these attributes that I've thrown in here kind of at the end, just because I thought it would be fun to add little tidbits of, oh, hey, I didn't know this was in here. I'm glad I found it, sort of stuff like that. Yeah, there's just stuff like that added in. And, yeah.
Thank you.
It's really cool to see, like, there's a ton of stuff going on the surface. There's enough stuff going on the surface to make it like its own comprehensive thing. But then to have you kind of explain the back end stuff and to make the back end stuff like kind of visible in the surface, just kind of, I think that's really cool. It makes you think about what goes into game design, even on such like a simple level. Something so simple has like a deceptive amount of stuff hidden behind the curtain.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like, it's fun to kind of get a window into that from somebody who does, like, I love games, but I don't really know a lot about game design. So to be like, oh, that is interesting that there's a bidding system, that there's random variables into that. And like all that sort of stuff is just really cool to be able to see and to hear about.
Yeah, I'm glad you appreciate it and enjoy it. So thanks for mentioning that. if that's all the questions and comments, thank you for letting me speak, and on to the next presenter.
All right, thanks, Eric. That was a great presentation. Yeah, my name is Shab, and I'm just gonna share my screen so that y'all can see the project. Okay. Yeah, so my project is like way more simplistic in nature and definitely not as ambitious as the projects that I've shown till now. It's more observational than it is interactive. And it was basically borrowed, the idea was borrowed from a concept which I found from an article that was written for an art magazine, which kind of dealt with how different musicians over the time have been inspired by works of art, especially paintings, in the music that they've created. And so I'm just gonna play the project for you guys, including the music, and then explain it a bit more. Yeah, so sorry for the choppy sound. Basically, the idea behind the project was to kind of have like one-word representations of what the paintings depict, uh, and then have a sound to go along with them, which matches the representation of the paintings. And yeah, so that's the description right there, and that's the reference article. If anyone wants to check it out, it's on Daily Art Magazine. And I just had all the variables for the images that I had and the audio that I had. And the rest of the code is pretty simple. It loads the sounds and it loads all the images, and it loops the intro music. And then there's a background which instead of coding all the texts in P5 itself, I've created a Photoshop background with all the titles so that I could just use the coordinates from the mouse to kind of match the titles. And then for each background, so for each painting, only the music that corresponds to it plays and rest all stops. And then in the end, if you want to pause the music completely, then you can use the feature of mouse is pressed anywhere on the screen. And so all the music pauses and only the intro plays again. And yeah, that's about it. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I wanted to ask, so the songs you use, do you have like any, like, did you listen to them beforehand, or you're like, oh, I like this song, it gives me this feeling, so you're like,
Yeah, so all the songs are stuff that I've heard beforehand. And a couple of them I also picked up from the article itself. So they are the actual songs that inspired the painters to paint their paintings. That's obviously true for the more modern painters. For the old ones, it's just music that I've heard before and I felt represented the paintings itself. All right, if nobody has any further questions, also I'm gonna take a leave. Everyone's a great project till now, but it's bedtime for me. Best of luck for all the rest of the projects and have a fun session. All right. Off to the
Enjoy your
next
slumber.
session. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Shub. Yeah, he's this is like 3 a.m. for him or something almost. So thanks for sticking around at least.
Of course, I enjoyed it. All right. Best luck, y'all. Bye-bye.
I guess that brings me up next. My name is Brad, for those of you who don't know me. My project, I made a game. It's like, it was based on like old arcade games where the objective is pretty simple, but I'll get into that when I get there. This is the landing screen. So you got all these different candles, and you can't click on any of the other candles except for the ones that are lit. And when you do, it brings you into the game. And so as you play the game, you'll unlock more and more levels that add more and more obstacles. Well, not obstacles, but like difficulties to them. So the goal here is to catch the cookies. And every time you catch a cookie, you can see your score goes up, and the cookies do start to get faster. Every time you catch one, it gradually increases the speed that the cookies fall at until you lose all your lives, and then you get a game over screen. I don't know. It takes a little while to play through each level, so I'll just get through this first one and show you the second stage. And then I'll move over to the code. But basically, you can tell that the cookies are getting faster and faster. And then eventually, after you beat all 4 levels, you get to a victory screen that it's basically a reward for beating all the levels. So I got 58 there. So if we go back to the main menu, you can see that the next candle has lit, and you can go into the next game. And in this level, there are bad cookies that fall that'll take away your life if you catch them. So you don't want to catch those ones. But I'll just go into the code real quick here. So basically, the code got real complex really quickly. So each level has its own switch case in the draw function. So when you the main menu here is switch scene 0, so it'll play this code, and then every time you click on a candle, it'll play a different level basically, and all the game is located in this class in Cookie Catcher, and depending on which level you're on, it will set one of these true, and that will activate the different levels in the code. So like, let's see. So if we're here in draw cookies, if level 2, this is the level 2 Boolean I used. It'll draw like the kitchen, and it'll just call the code differently so that different levels and different like things will happen on each level basically. And then you can go back to the main menu each time, and it'll reset the code back to normal. So when you open up the next level, it's basically just starting from scratch, and each level has its own background and own music that plays. So it kind of changes things up between each level. And the difficulties I had with this code, when I first programmed it, I just made level 1. And then when I went on to level 2, I kind of added more to that. And then when I got to level 3, it became so convoluted that I had just had to rework the entire code here to make it simpler, because it was like all hard coded, but then I decided to just add switch cases in the spawn and despawn functions, so that you can input a 0 or 1, and depending on which one is inputted, it either puts the condition, it tests the conditions for good cookies or bad cookies, which are just like inverses of each other. And then those, depending on which one is called, it calls the spawn for the new cookie up here. And then each cookie is its own class that has its own draw function, which made it a lot easier to have it separated, to have it as its own object rather than in the main sketch or the game class that I have here. So yeah, it would take too long to play through all the levels here on the stream. So if you wanted to go play it, I highly encourage it, because I do like the last levels quite a bit. They do get a little more difficult. And plus, if you get, I think the base score you need to get to unlock the next level is 40. But if you get 60 on each level, then it unlocks like a secret ending. So that encourages replayability. And plus, having the high scores show at the end when you game over, it encourages the player to keep, keep replaying it to try to get a higher score. So that's all I got. If anybody has any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them.
This isn't a question, but a comment. I just gotta say, I love this. It reminds me of playing like Flash games on the internet during school. I really love that. I got a high score of 70. That's good. And I was just gonna ask, what is your high score? Your personal high score?
Each level has its own like high score variable. So I think on level 1, which I think you're referring to, because she has all the high scores, I think I got like 70, 75 maybe, because eventually it just keeps increasing in speed and it gets way too fast, and it's like almost humanly impossible to catch them. So I feel like there is like a max there, but I think I got like maybe 75 is my best run.
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing to Tristan, that like these types of games are so addictive, so it's smart to do something like this to encourage people to like replay. Like he said, like I played these types of games like so much when I was little, so I think it's a fun concept. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely played a lot of like Flash games during like school too. So that's maybe part of where the inspiration came from. So I'm glad you feel the same way.
I have a quick question about the secret level.
You're a little quiet. Can you just speak up a little bit?
I've been trying to talk this whole time. Is it better now?
Yeah, I think so.
So is it better?
I just turned my volume up so I can hear you, but I don't know about everybody else.
Okay, so I'm just gonna hopefully you hear me. I wanted to know about the secret level that you said there was.
It's not so much of a secret level. It's more like you get like extra on the victory screen.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, does the player know beforehand that it exists? Because then it's like, I was like wondering if it like would encourage to play more if they knew.
So yeah, so if you play through all the levels and you just get the regular end screen, there's a little message that says achieve a score of 60 on each level to get the secret, and that would entice players to go back and replay all the levels they didn't get 60 on to try to get that like secret end screen.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I was wondering about that.
All right, so if there's no more questions, I would like to hand it off to the next person now.
Okay. My name is U-Myah, and I'll be going next. Can you guys see my screen?
Almost.
It's black for me. It's telling me to double click. Oh, wait, no, that didn't work. Oh, it did. Never mind.
We're good now.
Okay. So the whole idea for my code project was to create something that reenacted a rainy day and rainy weather. I wanted to make this a game that you just interact with just to see what would happen if you clicked on something, just the digital effects of things. So I'm gonna unmute it to show how it will play out. You guys hear the sound?
No. You might
Okay.
have to share your audio. I don't know, but
I'll stop share and I'll share again. I don't think I clicked it.
Yeah, a lot of things like go back to default, so the struggle is real.
Okay. Unmute the sound. So basically how you can hear the rain and looking at my project, the idea is to be able to click on something and have it move or do something. And when I click, the car typically should move and go across the screen. And basically I have the drops dropping inside the rain. There really weren't elements that I wanted to add into it, but overall it did end up working out as fast as I thought it would. And then the car goes off the screen. As far as the code itself, starting with the beginning, I have the variables to import the car, the song, and the images. Then I loaded everything in function preload, the sound for the storm, the houses, the car. Then function setup, I created my canvas and loaded it the size. In here, function draw, I created a code. So if you were to click on the screen, you would have the car move. And going further down to where I loaded the image or the toy car, the red car. And this area of code here is what controls the drops of the rain, how slow, how fast, how wide they are as they're dropping. And further down, I have more code, mouse pressed. So I know, so it'll be able to move as you click and interact with it. And that's all for the code. There were other elements that I could have added, such as like an umbrella, and I wanted to add something with a pothole, but this was my first time coding, so I tried to put as much as I could to get started, at least to get like a general idea of what I wanted. And something that I ran into that was an issue for me was incorporating multiple pieces of sound and just different elements. But overall, I got the idea just from thinking about the weather and, you know, how the weather is always changing. So I figured that doing a project based on rain in a rainy day, it would be easy to kind of conceptualize and have visually. And does anyone have any questions or comments?
So I wanted to why a rainstorm? Like, why do you choose like particularly a rainstorm and not like any other type of weather?
Um, I don't know. I guess I just like the idea of rain rather than snow, and I figured that this may be something easy for me to do to get started. Because at first I didn't really see myself like coding something, and I didn't really think I would understand how to, you know, get it to play out. So I figured if I stick to something simple, I may be better to start off with that.
Kind of
Yeah,
going off. Go ahead, Liv.
Sorry. It kind of reminds me of like a white noise machine or like a rain thing that people like fall asleep to, you know, that kind of thing where it's like a relaxing like rainstorm. But did you go through any other like versions, or was this your idea from the beginning?
This was the idea from the beginning, just to have something with the weather and rain.
My question was, did you have any like troubles with trying to like get the rain to actually like fall in like randomness and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there were points where I would add in another element like an umbrella, and then like the rain would stop dropping, and then I would take out the umbrella and then it would work. And then there were certain times where the rain would just fall like too slow, so I had to like tweak a lot of things with that. So I guess my biggest thing was just tweaking the elements so they can work together. Any more questions or comments?
I thought it was really interesting how there's no instructions or anything. You kind of just, you're put into this world. And of course, the first thing that I started doing was started clicking around, clicking on anything. And eventually I saw the car move. But it almost made me wish that like if I kept clicking, it'd be cool. Like if there was other Easter eggs or something you could put in there. But it was definitely very much like oh, I totally caught myself just clicking all over the place because that's what I thought we were supposed to do. It was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, comments, or suggestions?
I'm very happy that you got the PNGs to work. I think that was you who's having trouble, right? Last time with PNGs?
Oh, yes.
I ran into the same issue. As for about the rain falling too slowly, that could be because you have way too many raindrops.
Mm-hmm.
So how many are on screen? Is it randomly generated, or is it a set number that are falling at any given moment?
I believe it was randomly generated.
Up to which number?
Let's see.
Well, this could be my screen because you know it's very laggy on my end.
Yeah, it's kind of like loading a little slow.
Yeah, it's my screen because even your cursor is moving too slow. But yeah, when I did something similar a while back, if I had more than say 30 items falling and loading in different frames, it would slow down, go to a halt. Then again, it was on a potato computer, so.
Yeah, so I see I have like 500.
500. Oh, yeah, that's your problem.
Yeah, I have a lot of them falling down, all that.
You don't need 500 because if the screen's relatively small, once they hit the bottom, you can push them back up to the top.
Yeah. So
That
definitely
number is
like
only like 30 or less.
I definitely think with that, like tweaking that also would help just for the future or just building off of this.
It's fine. You got everything working. Just change the number and you should be fine. It should work relatively the same way. It'll probably be less dense though.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions or comments? Okay, I'll then pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, U-Myah. I just wanted to open it up for a couple minute break here, just so you guys can stretch real quick or go to the bathroom, that kind of thing. Let's see, where are we at? This is about halfway or just over halfway. So Anthony is also going to present today. He just wasn't sure if he could be here, so he didn't sign up originally, but works great because we did have a few people drop with some emergencies last minute. So yeah, we'll say at 4:50, we'll have Matthew start his up. Cool. Yeah, and we can just hang out too and chatter if you want.
I have a question. Is there a place where you have the list of the order of people?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. Well, we talked at the beginning and then I was just like, oh, I'll just let it to them. And then I've just been messaging people. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I guess some of you are still in the dark and I apologize. We have Matthew next, and then do you want to go after him?
Sure.
And then ask as we go. Actually, Michael is here. Michael, do you want to go after Rosa? Does that work?
Sure, I could go after her.
Cool. Yeah, and then I'll just message the last folks. Oh, Sana, you're here as well. So I'll have you go after Michael, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Cool.
And that probably just leaves Tristan, right?
Yeah, then there'll be Tristan and Anthony. So, oh, and Anthony, that's what I forgot. I have to add his link real quick.
I'm looking at the links and I'm like, I only see the 12. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I heard my name.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're just super popular. We were all like bragging about how great you are.
Yeah, I'm not great enough. I never did get multiplayer to work, and I realized that with COVID, you probably don't want someone sitting next to you playing the game alongside you.
Nah, you know.
So I just I did something slightly different based on what I already had.
Let me scroll back up. I didn't get this. Here we go.
But Eric, your work makes me very sad.
Sorry to hear that.
No, it's like it's a good kind of sense. Like that's what I want to be, because my goal is to get into game design. And while I didn't put much effort into like actually game design in my project, it was mostly just trying to get some things to work and be technical.
Right.
Coming from a computer science background, yeah, it makes me happy to see that there are some people out there who are still very passionate about certain things, doing things just for fun, and doing.
I will say I did put a little bit more time into this than I probably should have. I might have sacrificed a little bit of.
That's great.
Well, no, like sacrificing like more important like computer science work instead of this. But I mean, it paid out in the end. I think I got a good grade in that class anyways. I'm just glad I got to like work as much as I could because I like just expanding it.
That's the dream. It's like I was in computer science before, and I took a program for visual artists, and the final project was something similar. No, the final project was weather, and one of the labs was make something that you could walk around and it falls from the sky. You like collect it. No one knew how to do it, and I turned like a whole game, which I then based this one off of.
Cool. Yeah.
It's like, yes, I'm excited to take my work. Sorry, we're not accepting that at this time because no one else could complete it. Like, can I just email it to you? I'm going to show off my prized possession.
I worked so hard. Just.
In the end,
I'm excited to see what you got. So.
500 raindrops. My Chromebook termed Windows laptop is just shaking in its boots. I guess it doesn't have to anymore since the charger nearly exploded in my face. Don't watch movies in bed, kids.
Yeah, okay, so we should be good to start back up. Hopefully a few of you got a break, stretched out a little bit. Let's see, is Matthew, are you here? That is the question.
I'm here.
Okay, great. Oh yeah, I just had to expand my camera here. Yeah, you want to take it away?
Yeah, got it. Somebody's still sharing. There you go. Share screen. Yeah, continue. Yes. Can you guys see my screen?
It is loading, so probably soon. There it is.
Yes. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so hello, my name is Matthew Oku. So today the project I worked on was the idea behind the project was I was just trying to convey how I feel about lots of video games, like the tedious process we go through when playing a video game. So that was the main inspiration for this work, and that's the idea that I wanted to put down to mind. So if you go through my code, you can see the variables. These are the sounds. So basically what I did for my, the idea I had for this project was I wanted to put down a process that is long, tedious, and in the end, what you get is not really worth all the effort. That was like the guidelines I set out when I made this project. So let me show it to you right now. So this is my project. So basically I called it Bubble Pop. The main inspiration from it was for like silly mobile games, like what do you call Candy Crush, and not like cheap, fun, tangular mobile games. So as you go through, so if you hear the sound, the song is very annoying. That was like the idea behind it. So I usually tend to not play it. So another thing I did was if you click off the screen into a different location, you get a buzzer telling you that, oh no, this is not what you want. And so you need to keep on clicking, and then the scene change. Sorry, the zoom thing is in my way. So as you progress, your scene will begin to change, and the size of your circles begin to change. So you just keep on going, you get more text, like, hey, come on, you want to find out what's at the end. Oh, sorry, I think the zoom blocked my bubble. Oh.
Yeah, maybe just try to stop sharing and reshare or something. Not sure.
Yeah, let me
just a big square.
Yeah,
at least that I see.
Yeah, it just that zoom gets in the way of the bubble. I'm like, oh, come in and just click on this. Come in, my laptop just froze up. That sucks. Come on.
It's the mobile game industry trying to tell you to stop it. They want to survive.
I've cracked the code.
They're actively trying to prevent you from presenting.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Gee, a lot better. Let me just hide this in the corner. So as you progress, the background changes, the message changes, you keep on going. And that's the idea. I wanted the process to get repetitive and feel very tedious. And then near the end, as you get to the stretch goal, I wanted the circle to get really small. Just, add that extra just tedium to it. So, and in the end, this is your prize. This is you get a new feature, then it cycles through. I'm still trying to add some more things to it. I plan to work on it as time goes on. But so let's go back to the code. So the idea I had, what I basically did for the coding was I tied the score you get from when you click to the progression to the first set of scenes. So every time you reached a certain amount of code, you progress through the story. So what sorry, my laptop froze up again. Come on, there you go, buddy. Oh, why is not weird? So for the circles, I created a new function that basically all it did was it spawns random circles on the screen, and then to ensure when the person clicks it, it responds even when the circles change was I just made a mouse press function that basically all it does was it checks a perimeter, a radius, and it goes, okay, did you click in here? You clicked in here, you get this. You didn't click in here, it plays the button notifying that, yeah, your input was missed. So that was what I worked with for my project. And as it goes on, I was having fun with making text and just adding backgrounds to just fit in with everything. So yeah, that is my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
The scene where it's like the hypnotic swirl and tells you to look closer.
Yeah.
I think it's very fitting that you chose like the worst color and font possible, because my eyesight is poor. I just have to put my face in the screen, just making my eyes worse.
That was like when I was making. I just I just wanted to make sure like when you finish going through, just like, wow, I really don't like this. This is just tedious to go through. That was like
that's
the
life.
main idea.
You've made life in a small box of color. Congratulations.
Thanks.
What made you choose like the colorful like backgrounds, like in the swirly background?
Oh, so when it came to selecting the backgrounds, what I basically did was I had one of my friends, he makes backgrounds and other things for me sometimes. So I was looking at him work one day and I was like, I was just like, yo, dude, I don't know why colors. I just like looking at them on a when your background is like minimalistic and it's just I don't know. There's something nice about it. I was like, I'll use this. So then I looked online. I got some wallpapers for that, and I just like how they look. But the swirly one, it was just one of those. I just wanted to just make it really hard to see. That was the intent behind it.
I want to chime in too. I'm multitasking, so I might have missed it. But I think one of the I guess more critical components that I was trying to shift Matthew's kind of focus on was to create this sense of like an ongoing, never-ending system. And so he did show that it goes back to the beginning, but it automatically does based on a few seconds. And I believe what we've ended up with when I was working with him was, once you get to that point at the end, each time you get to the end, you're rewarded with more time. So it kind of like as a very subtle component to like keep you going back. They're just like some kind of like you're still going through all that repetition, and but I guess that was the kind of like the one thing that we were talking about, like what keeps somebody there isn't just the straight grind. It's like adding in some kind of reward structure system, right? You think of any kind of like massive art, online multiplayer RPG or something like this. Spend hours doing the same thing, but it advances you in some degree. So I think that was like, I don't think, I'm not sure if he mentioned that. So I think that was, I think worth pointing out.
I had a question, like where did you start with this project? Like what was like the first thing that you started building up? And then like, what was like the starting point for you?
So for this project, what I started on was, so I remember it was like a Friday. I was just sitting down. I was like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And I don't know what I'm going to do. So like I started sitting down, like started going through videos, and then so I was playing one of my favorite a game I just got on the Switch, Kuni. I used to have it as a kid. So I was like, it's very colorful. It was made by a really the guys who made Spirits of the Ways to you Ghibli. It was like very colorful and stuff. I was like, oh, let me think of something I can use this for, So I just sat down. I started just looking through ways to make I just understand the interactive way between how to just interact with things. So I was like, oh, this game has there's bubbles. I was like, oh, there's circles. I can use circles. So then I just first it was just a big circle that I just click and it walls around. I was like, yeah, this seems like that's not this much. So like I kept on working at it between like my classes. I'm just like, okay, this is fun. So just something that helped me pass the time, which was fun. So yeah, it definitely changed from day one to where I am now.
And I definitely think it was somewhat amusing for me. Matthew, he kept up he was pretty adamant. I kept giving him like suggestions, and he was really adamant about like, I just want it to be about clicking circles.
No, like that's the
yeah. And I'm like, well, what if you click the circles and then this happens? No, it needs to be about clicking circles.
As I said, it was just like it was just I was playing a game I played as a child, and it's ridiculously grindy, stupid grindy, doesn't make sense grindy. You do stupid things and just get a little title thing. I was just like, my pain, I need to give it to the world. So that was just the idea.
Were you playing
that's
GTA?
only my no, Ni no Kuni, as I said, just you sit there, you watch a pet for like 3 hours, like, damn, I wasted my time. I like that I just wanted to make sure people understood. I want somebody to go what I'm going through. Like that was my dark desire.
Yeah, you literally wanted to make sure people were wasting their time.
Yeah, it's kind of me looking back.
That was the end goal. That was
this was like
the ultimate goal. Well,
yeah, it kind of feels like something you would send to your friends as like a prank and be like, "Whoa, like the ending is so dope," and then just nothing happens. Like that's fun.
No, so I gave it to my roommate. He was not happy about it, but I was. So
yeah, so we did compromise, got some advancements and some more in-depth components, but it's still the same idea realistically. So cool. Yeah, thanks, Matthew.
You're welcome.
So then I am next. Let me share my screen. Everyone see my screen? Okay, so my project is based mostly on randomization and I'm drawing as well. So basically I have it with these buttons here at the top where you can randomly, every time you click this, it randomly generates a different background color, and then you can draw on it. And as well, this button randomly changes the color of the line that you're drawing, and the size of the line is randomly changes to a different size every time you click on this button. And then I have this button that when you click on it, it plays a sound, and then when you want to stop the sound, you can click here on the stop and then the eraser. What the eraser is doing is basically changing the color of the stroke to the same color as the background in order to become an eraser. And then I have this button here that when you click on it, it saves a picture of whatever it is that you drew to your computer. So if you, if the user likes what they drew and they want to save it, they can. And then I also have it's so that in two random, well, not, they're not random. I decided on where the spots are, but I didn't tell, like there's no way for the person using the game to know certain spots that you can click on that play different songs, and then you can also stop those by clicking on the same stop and getting into the code. I have here my variables and the pre-loading the audio, and then here is where I have all of the buttons and as rectangles and the text being written so that you know what each button does. And then I also have it so that the mouse is, instead of being how you normally have a mouse, it is a little hand that when it's clicked down becomes a plus sign. And then I also, this is where I have all the things for the mouse pressed on the buttons, so the locations of them and the random generation of all of the different things, and saving, and then also playing the sounds. So if anyone has any questions or comments.
What made you think of doing something like this for your project?
What made me think of this is that I wanted to make something based on randomization, because I knew that in P5 you can have things be generated randomly, and so I liked the idea of the fact that every time you go into the code, like the program, it will be different. So each user has a different experience than every other person who plays this drawing thing. And then also I saw that I wanted to do something based on drawing as well, and I found in the examples on the P5 website, I found this code here that allows for a drawing to be done where you move your mouse, and so I built everything around that idea.
What was the hardest part for trying to like make this work?
For me, there were I think multiple things. One of my issues was that originally when I changed the size of the stroke, it would also change the size of the stroke around each of the rectangles. And so having it only be changing the size of the stroke that I wanted to change was an issue. And then also being able to have the functionality of having multiple sounds in one project was also an issue.
Yeah, I like the randomness to it. I think it puts the user in like an interesting spot because it's like, well, I like the background color that I have now, but do I, oh my God, my dog's coughing, sorry. But do I roll the dice and try and get a new background color, or do I just stick with this one? I think it adds some interesting stakes to it. So that's cool.
I got distracted for a second, so I may have missed something. Did you ever add the stamping tool?
No, I did not end up adding a stamping tool. What I ended up adding since the other time, I added in 2 random spots a another audio. Well, they're not random spots, but you have to click around and find basically find where they are, because they're not denoted, and it's kind of, I guess, and kind of in a way an Easter egg that you wouldn't know of, and kind of gives the illusion of it being random in terms of if you accidentally click on that area. It will just start playing a song, and then you'll have to stop it if that's what you want to do.
Cool, thanks, Rosa. We do have Michael next, and followed by Sana, and then Tristan, I'll have you go, and then we'll have Anthony. So 4 more.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael, and let me just share my screen. So for my project, I created a soundboard, and the idea behind it was I just wanted to create something that was simple, simplistic, reusable, and just kind of goofy and humorous. There wasn't like a strong narrative storytelling design idea behind this project. So basically, when you click on a button, it plays a fun sound effect and it changes the background. It was mostly something that I just came up with, with in mind to just annoy the people around me, to just like pull it up and just start annoying people. For my code, it's set up. Oh, let me expand this. It's set up really simply. I just have all of the sound effects, then all of the images here, and created all of the buttons. This displays the buttons on the canvas. This makes it so that when you hover over the button, it changes, so you know that you can click on it. And this is when you press the button, it plays the track and it changes the background. And then I have this circle class that just made all of the functions involving the buttons really simple. Some challenges that I had with this was that this project originally started out a lot more complex. There was an interface involved. There was going to be special effects to go along with the sound effects. And I just had to think about realistically what I can do with this, and I had to scale it back. And I did try very hard to get icons for each of the buttons, but I had a lot of, I originally started trying to make like little pixel icons for them, but that just turned out really blurry and it did not look good. So then I tried to just get pixel images, but I was having a lot of problems with white space and then transparency, and I just could not get all of the images to just look nice. So I just scrapped the idea and just left it how it was. And that was it for challenges. And this is basically my project. If anyone has any questions.
This isn't a question more than it is a comment. I wanted to say that I remember when you had presented in class versus like how it looks now, there's like a drastic difference, and it looks like you really had gotten a handle on it. So I just want to say that you did a really good job with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I also have a comment, but I think the fact that they don't have like icons on them almost works because it kind of forces the user to explore like what each sound is and like find out by clicking on them instead of just having like a label or like a image on it. So I think it actually kind of works in that way. So I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to do labels. If I was gonna do anything to like differentiate them, it was going to be icons. I could not get it to work, and it was just taking way too much time at that point that I just had to compromise.
Also, being that it's a soundboard appears to be geared towards what's the name, memers and all that. So having a soundboard designed to annoy people with no icons or labels means that you might just break their heart when they play the wrong sound.
It's true.
Which is always nice to see. It's a great sight.
You all can take note on the top right of his screen. He could learn his new MacBook. I believe he had his computer die in the middle of this project, so
Yeah,
had to get a new computer.
that was a fun experience not having a computer for 2 weeks.
At least it's all online.
Yeah.
Processing you would be well, screwed.
I just want to comment that I really like that the idea of creating a soundboard with different sound effects. I think it's something neat to do, and the curiosity of what may play or what's going to happen once you click the circle is really good.
Thank you. So I'm pretty much done. So now you can go now.
Hi, my name is Sana, and if you don't know me, and I'm gonna share my screen. The sound starts immediately after I click, so I'm just gonna explain the project a little bit beforehand. So my project is called Choose Your Dream, and it is basically a more than it is like a game or whatnot. Like it's still interactive, but it is a kind of like an abstract idea, abstract like concept, and like based on how also my last project kind of combines with this. I wanted to talk about the dreams we have when we're awake, so like our daydreams, and then the dreams we have when we go to sleep. And so I had made two different sounds for those types of dreams in the Audacity project. And so I kind of transfer them over to here. And so I'll play the project now so you can see what. Oh, I have to share my computer audio for that. Hold on.
Do you want to dive in? Yes or no?
So you can either click yes or no, obviously. And if you click no, this is what happens. Okay, but I was looking into the reset button and I was like, I like it like more linear like this, having to refresh. So if you click yes.
Where would you like to go first? The dream world or the real world?
So if you want to go to the real world first.
Welcome to real life. 3, 2, 1, go.
I made this video, well, like I said, I made the sound already in Audacity for the last project, but for this one, I went into Final Cut Pro and I just like put this video together. It's really short. So this is person daydreaming. Audience claps.
Hello? Hello? Are you awake? Are you asleep? Are you both?
Then you go to the dream world.
Welcome to the dream world. 3, 2, 1, go.
So this one is a bit more, so for this sound and this video, I don't know if you can even hear me. I wanted to make it like it has like a pretty background and just like, I really don't know if you can hear me or not.
We can
I
hear
wanted
you.
to, okay, that's good. I was just like, it's too loud in my ear, so I don't know. So the background is like, you know, pretty and nice, not only just the video, but also the picture. And then like there are these random noises coming in, like breaking glass and just like random like swishing noises. And then this black kind of image kind of represents that, like the gap in judgment when you have when you're dreaming. Also just kind of blackness to represent like some form of like a lot of bad things happen when you dream, but also a lot of good things happen given the pink and the nice sparkly background and the trees and the sparkly stuff. In the sound, the trees and the birds. Okay, I don't know 100% how long this is. I didn't make a video for this one because I felt like it would be like a bit redundant.
I don't know.
Okay, there you go.
You've
That's the
reached
end.
the end, but what will you choose? The dream world or the real world? The choice is up to you.
So then you end up having to make a choice.
Is someone there? I'd like to choose, if I still can.
So whether or not you pick the dream world or real world, you will end up with this screen again, like you did the first time when you click no. I was gonna make like so many different like worlds like within the dream world and the real world, and I was just like, I feel like it makes it a bit more abstract if you were to click any world at the end, like when you make your choice and you end up with when you end up kind of not being happy with what you chose, it kind of just leaves you in this kind of like limbo, like, oh wait. So, and even if you do play again, you get the same results. So it's like, oh wait, it's kind of like this air of confusion. So it's kind of, I wanted to just, in a sense, like a lot of times when people are like, oh, I wanted to make something abstract that to some extent doesn't make any sense, but it kind of does at the same time, if that makes sense. I can't really explain it. But yes, I'm gonna get into the code. I don't have I didn't have it ready. Oh, okay. Oh, this is still full. Oh, P5. Okay. Okay. So this is my code. A lot of what makes it kind of, I guess, unique is that there's a video in it. The only one video is just the one for the real world. I had to look that up in the references to figure out how to add a video in, and I also had to compress it because P5JS only allows a certain amount of, what's it called? A certain limit on how big the files can be. So I had to compress that. And then, so I have my draw functions that are basically just like the TV like you saw before. You got your sound, which is in there. I've got my mouse press functions that click if you when to navigate you throughout the entire experience. Then I have this is the code for the circle inside of the dream world that represented the gap in judgment. I have Liv actually helped me out with figuring out how to make buttons say, like when you click a button, when you go to the next scene, it won't like freeze or kind of like get corrupted and like send you back to like a different place, like basically that you can add the same mouse press function within the same parameters. So I was having trouble with that, and she actually helped me out with that, which was really, really nice of her. Then I have, it's not very much like, not very complex. The only thing that kind of think that would make that makes my project stand out a little bit is just the fact that I have a video in there, because I didn't really see anyone else have a video. Yeah, my project in and of itself is quite linear, and I have a lot of GIFs. So yeah, that's my project. It's called Choose Your Dream. Any questions or comments? Open to.
Like you said, like I think it stands out from some of the other things because it's so like audio driven. Like all of the audio cues really take you like through it, which I think is really cool. It's definitely different to like what some other people did.
I also like the audio aspect of it as well. I felt like it was really good and it really brought you into like the scene, and I just like the different elements of it. And one question I had is, what inspired you to do something like this?
I don't know. When I was doing the Audacity project for the dreams, I was like, I wanted to kind of do something that's like, because I know that when people sleep, they dream about things that they can't really control. So sometimes people are like, oh my God, I can control my dreams and I can lucid dream or whatever. But a lot of times when you're daydreaming, I mean, in some extent, sometimes you can't really control those either. But sometimes people like, maybe they have a crush or something they like, so they daydream about them, or sometimes they have a dream that they really want to go after, like they want to become a singer, or they want to become like a astronaut or whatever. So they, most of the time when people daydream, they kind of dream about the things that they control. So I was like, daydreams and like dreams you have when you sleep are kind of like not related in and of themselves, but they are because they're under the umbrella term dream. So I was like, how can I combine those? So this is what I decided to do.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask about the audio for also all the audio. How did you like get your voice to sound really ethereal? Was it like it's just editing in Audacity?
Yeah, in Audacity, that was basically I just put the file in there, and so that I did like an echo, and I also put a lot of reverb in there, in Audacity. So yeah, that's what I did.
The ability to choose between the real world and the fantasy kind of reminds me of the choice Keanu Reeves' character. I can't remember his name at all. Goodness, I suck at movies. That he had to make in The Matrix.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not worth the effort to make that choice, as you as you said. Like the dream world there's not much to it. Yeah, it looks pretty. The real world kind of sucks. Not your video. I mean, like just in general.
No, I know. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, but yeah, you make your choice, and then it ends. What's of it? What good is free will if nothing ever happens?
Right. So it's kind of just like a means to no end kind of thing, and it's just like even if I do choose, it's like what's the point of it? So in a way, it's kind of like the what's it called? The project, I can't remember. I can't see names right now because I'm sharing my screen, but he was like, "Oh, the point of the game is to like be annoyed at the end." In a way, there's somewhat of that element involved, but also, I think it's just I wanted it to be a bit more thought provoking. But yeah, basically, just like, what's the point of either one?
Jack Shark, that's his name. The guy in the
Oh,
red
Jack
shirt,
Sharp. Oh,
peeking up. Howdy, how's it going?
AKA Queasy, AKA Matthew.
Yeah, wait, hello?
He's got 2 aliases.
Oh, okay.
No, Sana was referring to your project is all.
Oh, okay. No, like I was like, I said, I was like, wait, why did she say that name? I was like, oh, I logged into the wrong account.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I want to make sure we do keep trucking along here because we are a little bit over time, which is fine. I think. So yeah, thank you, Sana, and we could all give our air claps. The silentest golf claps of all time. And yeah, so 2 more left. And I was originally concerned going over because the whole semester, the art department had 6:30 speaker series. I checked and that ended like a month ago. So could have altered our schedule, but that's okay. So yeah, we have 2 more left and then we can get into some voting, which shouldn't take long, and then I kind of do some deliberating, and you guys can chat for a bit, and then yeah, we'll wrap up. So yeah, we're on to Tristan.
Yeah. All right. So my project is called Our Guess B. And right off the bat, the title screen music may or may not work. You don't have to play it with sound. I won't be for the sake of you guys. But my project was, the idea for it came from, I'm a big camera nerd, color spaces, RGB, all sorts of that kind of stuff. I live and breathe it. So when something that's very cool is on most monitors, like screens, computers, phones, and whatnot, every color that you see on there is usually made up of a value of 0 to 255 for each of 3 values, red, green, and blue. And so if you do the math for that, there's about 16.7 million different colors you can make. So what this interactive kind of game does is it mixes up a random color for you, and then it gives you a polygon with rotation, and this polygon has been colored with your target color, and you try and manipulate and guess based on your inputs for these. And then once you think you have it right, if you don't know, if you're really lost, you can really look at them and compare them and see, oh, it needs to be a bit bigger, I need to add more red, etc. But if you're really hardcore, you can try and guess it without even messing with any of that. Afterwards, it'll give you a match percent. And then as an added bonus, there's you can draw on a little easel canvas with some different sizes, and even save your image right to your computer. So the goal for this project was to make something interactive. You're given a random thing and you're trying to guess it. The main interactive part of this is the polygon, of which I had to make a function for it. If I scroll over my code here for a bit, we load all of our stuff in, and then I have this custom function for making polygons easy, so I can input variables into the arguments. So as you change these values, it changes the polygon and the rotation and such. So there's two main functions in this. There's the draw, which controls background, images, everything you see on screen. And then there's mouse if clicked, which is scrolling down here. So this will change stuff based on where your mouse is when it's clicked. This is just a scene by scene by scene thing. I've never done a ton of coding before. I did some Python, but that was for like a summer. I didn't want to make this a game, but it kind of turned out being just a scene by scene game. So some of the challenges I had was actually right here, trying to get these to update as you increase them. I spent a long time trying to get it so you couldn't go over 255. It ended up being like so many if-then statements, I couldn't wrap my head around it. So that's one thing that I would change if I could. Also, a huge shout out to Eric for helping me with this code at the bottom here for function touch moved. That helped me get this canvas working. And yeah, the coding, it's relatively simple. There's a whole lot of math in it for determining those input values. Something else that was pointed out to me by Bernard actually was guessing the RGB value is especially difficult because of this brown background that kind of messes with your eyes. It doesn't let you see colors correctly. And also monitors aren't specifically, not all of them are calibrated well. So even if you think you got it, you might not. So yeah.
I like the way that you correlated like the shape of the polygon, how it like changes as you add the colors, so that it's almost like a little handhold so that it can take you to like the right color or at least close to it. I think that was smart. And then it was fun to see like some of the things implemented that weren't implemented in class, like the little like paint can thing. That was cute. I liked it very much.
Thank you.
I have a question. Were there any difficulties with coding for your project?
Oh, yes. Thankfully, Eric saved me a few hours of trouble by helping me with, he's recycled some of his code from his project. Getting this polygon function, I actually ripped it mostly from the P5JS reference, but inputting these variables and figuring out the math for how big it gets when depending on the thing, how many vertices, how many, the rotation value for it. That was really big. And then just some of the math for determining these was a little bit hard. But other than that, it was pretty good. Just a whole lot of busy work.
And overall, do you believe you were able to create your overall idea?
Oh yeah. It didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. But this is it was I didn't realize exactly what I wanted the interactive part of it to be. I knew I wanted the shape to react in a way. So I think I did a good job with this polygon, how it changes. My original idea was like having multiple moving polygons and stuff, and each color affected a different kind. Got a little bit too complex. But yeah, I think I accomplished what I set out to do. Just a fun little game.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, you talked about how there's millions, maybe even more. I don't remember the number. Just way too many colors, but it turns out it's just not enough. Because with darker shades, I think I tried to explain this in like documentary class. With darker shades of colors on like camera and on certain screens, on all screens really, you get that little gradient. It doesn't blend very well because there's just not enough values.
Yep. And if you look at this gradient I have in the background here, you can kind of see some banding if you look really closely and you have a good screen. So that's it's kind of a side effect, but I also like to, double down as saying, oh, it's part of the difficulty. But yeah, the main purpose of this was to kind of get people to realize, oh, wow, there's like a whole lot of difference between 110 and 114, and that there's 16 million different possibilities here, and this is what my screen is displaying all the time, especially web content. It's all this standard RGB 8-bit color space. So yeah.
Put a smile on my face there.
I have another question.
Mhm.
Was there anything that you enjoyed in particular about creating your project?
Ooh, I actually liked doing the sound part of it. I didn't think I would. It was kind of like a last. I saved it for the end because I thought it was more of a complimentary thing. But I think adding this techno sound, if you play along with it, it really adds to the experience. And I think having this like driving beat in the background while you're trying to guess really adds to like, oh, don't mess up, don't mess up. So yeah, I think that really added to it. I think that was really fun for me to try and code.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that is it for me. So I will hand it off to Anthony. Oh, actually, just one more thing before then. I have never gotten it at exactly 100% match. And Bernard, you said that you would, so I'm going to wait.
No, I said I already did. I don't know, maybe I didn't.
Pixar didn't happen.
Fake news.
I'm having trouble moving this black bar here. Oh. Oh, that closed down. Can you guys hear me all right? So, remember that game I was talking about earlier I made in Program for Visual Artists? You know, you walk and you collect some things falling out of the sky. This is a successor in a way. Before it used to be just run across the ground and you just jump for coins aimlessly. Now there's a couple of platforms here. The bot here, if you can see my mouse, he's having a hard time using the platforms. That's not something I managed to fix. And any attempt to do so made it just dumber. So I can feel the pain of all the people who try to like code computer players in their games. It's hard. Even a genetic algorithm, you have to know exactly what it takes to win, and this just isn't it. So someone did point out that they had a lot of fun just messing with it. Oh no, it's running very slowly now that I'm on Zoom. My goodness. Just collecting coins that the computer is trying to aim for, just to mess with it. It's kind of funny. It's bullying, but hey, it's always nice to be on the other end of that. I'm joking. I have no idea how to end that. I need a pause button. So because I didn't want to have people sitting next to each other while playing the game, since I couldn't get multiplayer to work, I gave you the option to add more bots. They were supposed to be able to say or know which coin the others are targeting to not do that, but at about 3 bots, they don't care. They don't care. They're just greedy, and that's how they end up losing. Oh, that's 21 seconds left. I'm just gonna wait for that to die out. So my code. You're about to watch me cry a little. There's a lot of stuff. Here. You have lists for coins. You have local players and active keys, because you can't hold down 2 keys at once natively, and that's a little sad. These are pretty much all of the assets. If you remember, there's coins spinning around here, and when you walk, you actually have a walking animation. So where is that? Should be here. You have frames for going left and frames for going right, made from a sprite sheet, which I had to cut out painstakingly. And normally I would try to just scale it in a certain direction, but then it flips the entire thing, and it gets annoying very quickly. This is these other states. State 1 is home screen. State 2 is NPC game. You can ignore everything underneath this because I never got it to work. No multiplayer, no scoring system saved on the web. I wasted a lot of time, 900, nearly 1,000 lines of code with nothing to show for it. Yay. Oh God, it's still going. It's very slow here. Let's see. So number of NPCs is made here in the home screen. Player versus bot, up 3 bots. In theory, you can get 8, but that just doesn't work out. Or any number, really. Up and down arrows to control that. I think that's what you were talking about, not being able to, going past, like 255. It's a simple if statement. If less than, say, for your case, 256. Titles, coin game. It uses a very enlarged coin instead of the normal small one here. NPC game. Let's see. It has to keep track of all the platforms made on the all the platforms made. It's scaled so that if you were to change the size of the canvas, is always roughly in the same spot, roughly the same size, except for the characters. Doesn't work all too well. That the frames for that came in later, and I kept the size the same. Again, mouse press. You click certain things and interacts. Winner. Actually, I'll just let that play down. I don't think I can dual screen that. Can you guys hear? Yes.
No.
Winner. That function, if my eyes can see where it is. I lost it. Oh, here it is. Compare scores. It sorts the list based on the scores, and whoever is in first place, it plays that winner sound. So in this case, computer player wins. If I were to actually try, which I don't really have to, it'll say player 1 wins in the event of a tie, which usually happens around when it returns 0. It says you tied. Okay, coins is pretty much like the falling raindrops that Another one, if you had, you might, Cheney. I'm just gonna call you Cheney. I can't speak today. I stayed up to 4 a.m. finishing this. It falls down from the screen. I'm not gonna. Why not? In the background. Falls down from the screen. It updates in the list, which is way further up. There's way too many lines of code, and my eyes are burning. Every coin has a chance of becoming a ×2 speed boost. Let's see if I can get it to trigger. And why are you in the corner, you little... Oh, well, he'll move eventually. He's just waiting. He's very stubborn. Basically, a ×2 speed boost means that every time you... Oh, there he is. Every time you collect it, your speed doubles, which... And there goes falling, if you can see that. It lasts for 10 seconds. The more you collect in that 10 seconds, the more it doubles, and it gets very hard to control. So you don't want to collect too many because you can't collect coins at that point. You're fast, but too fast for your own good. Player. As I said before, you can't hold down 2 keys at once, so most of these are based off letters, the keys you press. W, A, D. Real gamers know that. Joking. Jumping gave me a heck of a lot of trouble. My initial implementation would drop down from the platform nicely. That's exactly what I wanted. But if you have more than one platform, it treats them all as the same, and you just fall through them all. And that wasn't a very good time. I had to watch a YouTube video, and I'm very ashamed of that. Prevents you from walking off screen. No escaping this time. You catch coin is based on a rectangle to point collision instead of a circle. A circle probably would have worked better, but they're small enough on my screen to just be considered a point in space. Yeah, congratulations, you beat me while I'm distracted. Catch coin, key press. Yes.
I just wanted to see if you were able to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes, just so we could have a few minutes for some discussion.
All right, so computer player, I'm just gonna scroll down to that. It's basically just a player class with a giant wall of text that too long didn't read. Basically, it takes a distance function, whichever one is closer, it makes a temp variable for that. And if there's another one closer, it replaces that. And ideally, if another NPC or computer player doesn't have that exact coin as a target, it can accept that as its target coin. Doesn't always work, but it gets the job mostly done. NPC jump is a catastrophe. It's janky, but it works, which is lovely. It will sometimes fall through the platform and in the ground. Speeding along here, see if I can find anything else. Yeah, that's as much as I can see, but my eye is just not working. But I'm excited. I'm happy about that, considering how do I stop that? Hold on. This was its predecessor. It's probably very loud. So yeah, came a long way. Any questions while my potato brain is still functioning?
I think you did really well compared to the ideal version you showed us. I think it matched up pretty well for what you have.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, in the home screen, on menu screen, I even put like a little message from the developer. Icarus flew too close to the sun. I aimed too high, and there's a lot of things I wanted to get done but couldn't get done. and maybe I'll work on that later on because I'm all kinds of stubborn. But this is all I have to show for now. Is there any more questions, suggestions? Listening to play
Going off of
bass?
that, oh, sorry. Going off of that, I just want to know, like, what is the one thing that kind of, because you mentioned a lot of stuff that didn't work out that you really was like banking on? Like, what's one thing that you?
One thing I was banking on, multiplayer, being able to play with one or more people online that isn't right next to you. But I was trying to use Firebase, which something I have used before, but the last time I tried to do that, I had to get help from someone who worked at Google and was a TA, and it took him a while as well, which I guess is the product of Google not actually making Firebase, but acquiring it, which is the only reason why it's not dead, because it wasn't their original service to begin with. If that joke flew over your head, Google kills most of the services.
Another question I have is, was there anything that was in particular that was fun about coding the product that you enjoyed?
Coding the project, beyond my style of staying up all night and neglecting my body, which I do pretty much often, one thing I enjoyed was the NPC. While it isn't the smartest, it is slightly better than the one I think you saw at the last bit. So that's nice. Sometimes it ignores the coins others are targeting so that it doesn't lose out. Because if you move at the same speed, why chase something someone else is already capturing? So it's getting smarter bit by bit, and I enjoy that. I think that's the end of it, since Bernard's got that little look on his face. So
I
taking
was
too long.
Oh no, I was fixing my windows, kind of working my way towards shifting gears here. Yeah, cool, Anthony. Thank you very much.
Yes, slow clap. I don't deserve it, but I appreciate that.
So let me, we're at the end here. I'm hoping this works. I didn't really test it out too much, but I have used this site fittingly at the very beginning of the semester. So I'm going to throw this link in the chat for everyone. This is the voting link. And I'm also wondering, I'm kind of thinking it'd be cool to just have like some music playing in the background, but I don't know if I can control the volume. So I'd like to do that too while you guys are voting, and then kind of deliberating. It'll be low enough so you guys can still talk, but like, you know, some elevator, not elevator music.
Just play the ET project and
yeah. So here is the link. So it does have a name or a spot for your name, just because I want to have you guys avoid voting for yourself, and it won't let you retake it again. It tracks your like cookies and all that jazz. So it's kind of just like a one-time thing. I'll leave you guys for a few minutes to kind of go through and make your selection. I will note, just for, I'm going to share my computer sound too to try out the audio thing, but oh, I haven't done this yet, so it's wanting me to. Interesting. Getting a bunch of prompts. So just sharing my screen for a brief second. Just wanted to relate that point that if you wanted a recap of like all the different projects, you know, I have it there on the site with everyone's name and project title. So that should be a nice like refresher while you're kind of deliberating. Let's see. Wonder if I play this low. Do you guys hear this super low or is it super loud?
Yeah, it gets lower.
Yeah, it does get lower.
Okay, yeah, so just like let some real low audio kind of play. And yeah, so once those once all of those come in, I'm going to review that and then kind of go through, check my notes, figure out who the other two candidates trickle down through the last two, and you know, announce stuff. So,
Oh, quick question.
sure.
The survey, even though it asks for one for you to pick your favorite, you can select more than one. So do you just click one for right now sake?
Yeah, I mean, I did choose that option to only have one selected. So, thanks for pointing that out. Options. Exactly one. So I don't, maybe it's like you can't actually enter it. I don't know. I mean, I guess don't try, but I did put it as exactly one, so. Oh.
How long are we taking to vote?
I'm just checking results right now. I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing this platform. I've voted in person before. Then you have the results in front of you, but a little trickier here. It says 12 answered. So I'll give it a couple more minutes. Yeah, I know we're just about at the actual time we called for, so I won't take too much time here once that comes in. anybody still deciding? Cool. Yeah, so should be everybody here pretty much. Yeah, just give me a couple minutes here and I'll do the unveiling. I just was trying to find because I like designed these awards, but I did it on like the actual printouts. I'm gonna see if I can find them again real quick, but to put them up on screen maybe.
I have more than one question.
Sure.
No, I mean, there's I only was able to get one on SurveyMonkey. I mean,
You're only able to get one what?
question, was there supposed to be another? There are multiple categories, no?
Oh, so the one, it's just fan favorite, and then I'm choosing the other two.
Ah, okay.
Yep. Kind of deducing. Yeah, I've left, in the past I had an event and I left it up to everybody to vote for every category, which was kind of nice. But then there were a couple of people that were like clearly did like a ton, and it was just stolen by a project that was like just silly, which is fair. I mean, that's what people chose, but I just thought I'd change it up and see how this would go this time. Still having both options. Yeah, I think I'm pretty well set. I just found these images too, so maybe just give me a second. I'll throw them together for some a nice unveiling, so to speak. Yeah, and then we should be done here in just a few minutes. All right, so I spent a few minutes designing these, putting your names on them, exporting them, and it's about all set. And then they all disappeared. So I can't show you. Classic. But I still have them, so I can show you the actual, the blank document that you're going to be getting in person at some point. So yeah, on top of that epic failure, I guess I can remind you guys that not only, like, yeah, you're getting extra credit, which is cool. There'll be these awards, and then whoever's getting these awards also gets donuts, a dozen of them. So yeah. So yeah, I was pretty happy about getting that set up. Let's see if I can share here. Yeah. So these are the things I have to prepare for, polish for next time. Get a drum roll going every time, you know? Yeah, cool. So yeah, obviously, choosing awards is always hard because there's always going to be multiple candidates. And also, surprisingly, like, there was a pretty good spread of people like voting for different people. So that was kind of nice to see. Everybody has different interests, you know? So yeah, the person that got this crowd favorite interactive work is, do I get a drum roll? Does anybody give me a drum roll? Yeah. Cole Sackle. Cole, pat yourself on the back.
Thank you, guys.
You're the one with the Blade Runner on, right? I'm not good with names.
That was me.
I'm so proud of you. You blew me away the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, that's a lot better than what I thought you were going to do.
Yeah, it came out really awesome.
I appreciate it.
And fitting for me, I just watched the newer movie like last week, so
it's pretty good. Or
not last week, but like the week prior to you like announcing you were doing the project. I'm like, wow, is he like looking through my window? Gotta love these Zoom windows here. So number 2 here is most cohesive narrative in an interactive work. So this one is like a new one that I haven't really given out before. I was trying to make it more distinguishable, right? Like building things up to a point where everything's pretty nicely woven together, nicely knit. So yeah, it kind of like gives you this vibe of a deeper level of a story, you know? So also kind of a toss up here on my end, but got to make choices. Do I have a drum roll? I'm not gonna make you do that every time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But seriously. Yeah. This goes out to Sana Gill. And she's inviting us all over for cereal.
Thank you.
You got to eat it through a mask. Yes, many choices to choose from. Cool. Yeah, and I think too, Sana, a good person. Do you know Josephine Anstey
In Buffalo?
Yeah, in media study?
No.
Yeah, she's a professor in media study. I think potentially only teaches like graduate courses. I can't remember exactly. I took a course of hers, media and narrative. It was a graduate course, but I think we covered a lot of games in that course that related in the same way that yours did, like related in more of a complex way. So because this is all like shareable, you might want to just find her email on the website and shoot her an email with your link and say, Bernard suggested I share this, and see if she has any thoughts for you. Because yeah, I think that's it'd be pretty cool to get some follow-up for you.
Thank you. I mean, I just declared this minor like this semester, so I'm not really like, familiar with everyone in the department, but I'll definitely check that out. Thank you.
Well, yeah, as long as you make it known like you're a student and somebody recommended, I'm sure she'd be happy to give you some thoughts once the craziness of the end of the semester, wears itself off. And we have our last award. This is Best Code-Based Interactive in general. So this is realistically like, that project that's going to be well knit the whole way through, and has that replayability factor, and not broken, and it has well pieced audio, kind of syncing things together. And yeah, so without further ado, this goes out to Eric. Yeah, pretty solid project, man.
Thank you.
I haven't went through it yet, and I have to start the daunting task of grading all of these like 35 odd projects.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited to try to find some of these Easter eggs in your project.
Yeah, I mean, even as it goes on, I'll probably keep on adding a few more because I can. So,
good
luck.
Yeah. And then what's really great too, guys, if you're thinking about it, all these projects, I plan to probably try and save the website, the Coding with Donuts, in some fashion. I do also hope to recycle it as I go along. So it might just be like chunk by chunk or year by year, or I don't know. But for now, I'll keep everything there. But the big thing is if you guys have code that's you find really interesting from each other, it could be beneficial to copy it and save it. So you can either do that right on the P5 site or download the zip yourself from the Google Drive. But yeah, because then later on down the road, just like you'd reference your own projects, you have something that you want to kind of work towards. You could, potentially reference one of each other. So I always give that reference because as time goes on, you're going to like forget where things are and lose track of things. So it's good for organizing at the time if possible. So this has been pretty cool. I think it was pretty successful event. I mean, we didn't have 1 billion people show up, but I don't think that matters. Eric's mom's here to give us some money.
Thank you, Mom.
Because we're all broke, but
Spare change? Any spare change?
Yeah. So it was a pretty fun semester, guys. I will say that I'm gonna try and give ample feedback as I go along with these projects, but I guess I'll just probably start with all of you who participated first. I think that's probably fair, so I have like ample feedback for you guys, and then send them off to you first, and then that way, as I go along, I'll probably run out of time more and more. Trying to get through all the grading this weekend so I can get home in some capacity for holiday stuff. I don't know how much that's going to be, but so hopefully that's all going to be all right for you dudes as well. because it's going to be a challenging time, I'm sure. Just got to stay smart, I suppose. But yeah, does anybody else have any last questions or comments or anything?
I have a question. I know probably people want to go by now, but I have a question about like teaching. Like compared to the past semesters where you've like taught this class and now that we're like moved completely remote, how like not only has like how has not only like student like work changed, but like also like how you like teach the class. Obviously it's online different, but do you think like the work is any like quote unquote better, or like just how has it changed from past semesters?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think that brings up another, not to sidestep your question, brings up a good point that all of you, it'd be helpful to make sure you do your feedbacks for your different courses. Especially for newer faculty like myself, like tenured faculty, like no offense to anybody, but a lot of times you get stuck in your old ways and things are going to get back to normal and whatever. But everything we kind of learn now, we take with us and reutilize down the road. So at least that's my perspective. Anyway, everybody's important. No, so I think overall it's been obviously stressful on everyone to a lot of different degrees. I found it especially hard to keep everybody coming back to class, and people would miss a lot. And this semester I had to contact, I actually keep track here of attendance. In a normal semester, I might have to like give 2 or 3 people per class a warning, like, oh, hey, you've missed a bunch of classes, make sure you kind of keep track, be in each class. Then maybe there's like 1 or maybe 2 total students a semester that fall off the grid completely due to hardships or whatever. Understandable, it's going to happen. This semester, 24 times I emailed different people, like, hey, you're missing too many classes or this kind of thing. So that's quite a lot. And I think that itself kind of shows you, I guess, like a drop in overall motivation, maybe. I don't know. The other thing I did find out too is that those of you not only that are here right now, but those of you who've like actively kept up with your webcams, surprisingly, I think there's a correlation there, and like making yourself part of like a community, to not lose track of like, oh, hey, I'm in school, these other people are doing this thing, if I help them, they help me. I mean, that's part of my rhetoric for the course as well. So maybe that's why I'm overcritical on it, perhaps. But I think like if you guys think about it too, that it could almost be true as well. And it just depends on the person too, right? My brother loves being alone by himself, so everybody's different. What else? Yeah, so I mean, like in general, I also do find it a lot easier to give individual criticism, like consultations in the classroom. When it's online, it's like a lot harder to bounce back and forth. It's just clunky. It's challenging. It's just not smooth. You walk over and you look around. Somebody needs help, right? People aren't gawking at the camera like, oh, hey, I could use help, but I'm not going to ask for it. So I started trying to do some other things, right? Like side rooms and such, breakout rooms. That's the only time I really find out like if somebody's really struggling. Because somebody could say, oh yeah, I've coded before, I know what I'm doing. Check in with them 2 weeks later. They haven't really started, they try to do something hard, they broke, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, but in general, that's kind of like not just coding, but like all these different projects at one time or another. And I think it's just a weird time, you know. Everybody's got a lot of different built up stressors and drama and all these different factors that we, you know, you kind of have to make sure that you have these different microcosms to connect to. And if not, then you can start slipping out of, you know, the different tracks that you want to be taking part in. So just like family, you know, family is always there for you. I think it could be important bringing up that note about like the webcam thing. I mean, I found it helpful even for myself to like, I'm isolated, I'm secluded. I talked to a few people, but like I'm in a new city where I don't really know anybody. So just being able to like connect online a couple times a week and see faces and connect with people, that's grounding, right? So I don't know. I don't think it's overwhelming for everybody. You know, everybody's got different circumstances, but I guess that's one nice tip maybe to keep track of is the camera deal. I don't know. I think that answers most of your questions, right?
Yeah, you answered the question. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any quick things or? All right. Well, great semester, everybody. Job well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Enjoy the
Thank you, sir.
donuts. And
Thank you.
take care, everybody. Hopefully I'll see you at some point next year or something if you're around. So
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Adios.
Yeah, sorry about the nervousness during the presentation. I haven't been sleeping well, and I just, even during my last meeting, I was just all over the place.
Oh no.
You told
no
me to
worries.
get some rest.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm a little bit in the same boat. So we all know the drill, you know, right now these days. So